Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, is this still normal? Not your blood pressure. Not your cholesterol. I'm talking about something we rarely bring up, especially at this stage in life. Your body. Your desire. Your private habits. Masturbation. I know, it's not exactly dinner table talk. But let me ask you something real. What if the way you've handled that part of your life, quietly, in the background, maybe out of habit, what if that is now playing a role in how often you pee at night? How your energy levels dip in the afternoons? Or even how connected, or disconnected, you feel from yourself or your partner? You see, most men were never taught how their bodies would change after 60. No one pulled you aside to say, hey, what worked when you were 25 might actually be causing you more harm than good now. And so we don't talk. We don't ask. We just assume that we're too old. That it's too late. That this part of life just fades away. But here's the truth most men never hear. Your sexual health is not separate from your overall health. It's connected to your heart, your hormones, your mental well-being, and yes, even your prostate. And the craziest part? There are things you can do, simple things, that can make a huge difference. Things that might surprise you. Or even challenge what you thought was normal for aging. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 eye-opening masturbation insights, straight from urologists who specialize in aging men's health. Some of what you'll hear may sound strange at first. You might nod in agreement. Or you might shake your head and say, no way. And that's okay. That's exactly the kind of honest conversation we need to be having at this stage in life. So before we dive in, I want to hear from you. If you believe this topic matters, if you're still curious, still learning, still growing, go ahead and drop a comment below that says, still curious at 60+. Let's show the world that this part of life deserves just as much care and attention as any other. And don't forget to subscribe to Senior Care HQ, because here, we talk about the things that actually affect your life. The things no one else is brave enough to say out loud. Ready? Let's begin. Let's start with a man named John. He's 68. Retired. Sharp-minded. Loves gardening and playing chess on his porch every Saturday morning. But for the last year, John had a growing issue that slowly crept into his routine. It started as a small annoyance, waking up once at night to pee. Then twice. Then 3 times. Eventually, he was getting out of bed 5 or 6 times, barely sleeping. He'd joke about it with friends, must be the age, right? But deep down, he worried. Something didn't feel right. So he finally booked an appointment with his urologist. And after a few tests and a frank conversation, the doctor said something John never expected to hear. John, when was the last time you ejaculated? That question stopped him cold. Not because it was offensive. But because, honestly, he couldn't remember. See, like a lot of men in their 60s and 70s, John had quietly retired that part of his life. Not out of shame. Just, life happened. His wife had passed. The desire wasn't what it used to be. And frankly, he thought it didn't really matter anymore. But his urologist gently explained that it does matter. In fact, ejaculation, yes, including through masturbation, can actually help your prostate stay healthy. Here's why: when you ejaculate, your prostate contracts and releases fluids. That process helps flush out toxins, reduce congestion, and maintain circulation in the pelvic region. Over time, if those fluids stagnate, they can contribute to inflammation, discomfort, and even a higher risk of prostate complications, including cancer. And it's not just hearsay. Multiple long-term studies have shown that men who ejaculate regularly, around 21 times per month, including sex and masturbation, had a lower risk of prostate cancer later in life. Now, don't let that number overwhelm you. No one's asking you to perform like you're 25 again. It's not about quantity. It's about consistency. Even just once or twice a week could be enough to keep things moving and reduce the risk of stagnation. But here's the kicker, most men don't know this. They stop masturbating, assuming it's shameful, childish, or just something you grow out of. Worse, some think if they're not having sex with a partner, it's not worth it. But your body doesn't care if it's shared or solo. What matters is that your system stays active, that your body continues to circulate, cleanse, and regulate itself. Now, does that mean everyone must do it? Of course not. There are personal, cultural, even medical reasons why some men abstain. But if you're able, interested, and comfortable, then it's worth viewing masturbation. This is your body, your business. But the more you understand it, the more empowered you become to take care of it, with confidence and without shame. Now, prostate health is just the beginning. Because up next is a secret most men never expect. A truth about masturbation that doesn't affect your body as much as it affects your mind. And if you've ever felt moody, drained, or oddly emotional afterward, you're not imagining it. Let's talk about that next. Let's talk about Frank. He's 72. Widower. Retired schoolteacher. He keeps a quiet life, coffee in the morning, crossword puzzles in the afternoon, and on Sundays, he plays piano at the local church. But one day, over a quiet lunch with his old friend Paul, he brought something up that most men never say out loud. "I don't get it," Frank said. "I feel fine during, but after. I just feel low. Empty. Like the lights dim a little." Now, Paul just shrugged it off, said maybe it was guilt, or maybe Frank was just overthinking it. But Frank knew what guilt felt like. This wasn't shame. This was something else. So, curious and a little concerned, he booked a checkup with his doctor. Not a urologist this time, but a general practitioner who had worked with aging men for years. And what he learned changed the way he saw his body. The doctor told him, "Frank, the way your brain and hormones respond to climax at your age is very different from when you were 25. See, when you're young, sexual activity floods the brain with dopamine, a chemical that makes you feel energized, rewarded, alive. And on top of that, testosterone surges, giving you a feeling of confidence and drive. But in older men, testosterone levels drop naturally, bit by bit, year by year. And the balance between dopamine and serotonin starts to shift. So what happens? Instead of feeling uplifted or empowered after climax, some older men, like Frank, experience a sudden dip in serotonin. And that crash can feel like sadness, irritability, or even physical exhaustion. It's not in your head. It's in your chemistry. Now, here's the tricky part, most men assume that climax should always feel good. That no matter your age, it's supposed to leave you smiling, relaxed, and satisfied. So when it doesn't, you start to question yourself. You wonder if you're broken, or if it's some kind of hidden shame. But in reality, this is one of the most misunderstood aspects of sexual health in older adults. It's not about right or wrong. It's about learning how your body, and your brain, have evolved. So what can you do about it? Well, first, start tracking how you feel afterward. Don't just go through the motions. Pay attention. Do you feel relaxed? Tense? Low in energy? Disconnected? If it feels good, and leaves you calm or content, great. You're probably in a healthy rhythm. But if you notice a dip, if it drains you more than it restores you, then maybe it's time to rethink the approach. Try slowing things down. Integrate more touch, more warmth, more presence. Breathing deeply. Taking your time. Masturbation doesn't have to be rushed or mechanical, it can be mindful, even therapeutic. And if the emotional drop continues, don't hesitate to speak with your doctor. Yes, even about this. Because sometimes, what feels like emotional imbalance is actually a testosterone deficiency, or an imbalance in dopamine and serotonin that can be safely treated. It's not about fixing you, because you're not broken. It's about realigning with the version of yourself you're becoming, and treating that version with respect, care, and curiosity. Frank didn't stop pleasuring himself. But he did stop treating it like a habit he had to hide. Instead, he learned how to approach it with awareness. Knowing what felt good, what didn't, and how to care for his mind just as much as his body. And maybe that's the bigger lesson here. It's not just about pleasure, it's about balance. Emotional. Hormonal. Personal. Now here's where it gets a little controversial. Because while some men find peace and balance in regular self-pleasure, others discover something entirely different. What if, not masturbating at all, at least for a while, could actually improve your focus, your clarity, even your desire for connection? Let's unpack that in the next secret. Because this one, it might just flip everything you've believed on its head. Let me tell you about George. He's 75. Big-hearted, a bit stubborn, and still sharp as a tack. He's been with his partner, Maria, for over 30 years. They've weathered storms together, loss, retirement, a few health scares. But recently, something shifted. They weren't arguing. They weren't distant. But intimacy, it just faded. George found himself going through the motions, kisses goodnight, holding hands on walks, but the deeper connection wasn't there. And what worried him most wasn't that it disappeared, it's that he didn't miss it. He told himself, well, I'm older now. Maybe this is just how things go. But a quiet part of him wondered. What if it's not just age? What if I'm numbing myself without even realizing it? So, out of sheer curiosity, he made a decision. No pressure. No expectations. He chose to stop masturbating for 2 weeks. No release. Just presence. He kept a simple journal. Noting how he felt each morning. What his energy was like. His mood. His thoughts toward Maria. And you know what happened? Around day 8, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. A kind of spark. A renewed curiosity toward Maria, not just sexually, but emotionally. He wanted to sit closer. He noticed her more. There was a warmth returning that he hadn't realized had gone missing. See, here's what most people don't talk about: masturbation satisfies the brain's reward system instantly. It gives a burst of dopamine, that feel-good chemical that makes you relax, feel rewarded, and sometimes, sleepy. But in older adults, that system slows down. Frequent climax can dull dopamine sensitivity over time. So instead of feeling excited or satisfied, you feel flat. Unmotivated. Even emotionally distant. Now, don't get me wrong, this doesn't happen to everyone. But for some men, especially those dealing with low testosterone or chronic fatigue, frequent release becomes less about pleasure and more about routine. And routine, without meaning or intention, can slowly numb your desire, not just sexually, but socially, mentally, even spiritually. Here's the big misconception: people think more sex, more release, more pleasure equals more vitality. But that's not always true. Especially if your body isn't supporting those habits with enough rest, nutrition, movement, and hormone balance. Too much release, with too little recovery, can drain your energy. It's like withdrawing from a bank account without making any deposits. Eventually, something goes empty. So what can you do? Start small. Try a pause. Maybe 7 days. Maybe 10. Maybe even 14. Don't force anything. Don't repress yourself. Just observe. Journal how you feel. Are you more focused? Do you notice your surroundings more? Are you thinking about connection, not just physical, but emotional and intellectual? Add a few healthy habits during that time, a walk every morning, stretching at night, a call with someone who lifts your spirit. You might be surprised at what happens. For many men, libido returns stronger. Desire feels real again, not just mechanical. And clarity improves. Thoughts feel sharper. Even sleep improves, especially if you're using that time to invest back into your body instead of constantly depleting it. And look, this isn't a campaign against masturbation. That's not the message. You're not doing anything wrong if it's part of your life and it brings you peace. But every now and then, pulling back. Giving your body space. Letting your brain reset. That can be a powerful tool to reconnect with the parts of you that might have gone quiet over the years. Because these aren't just bedroom tips. These are keys to aging with intention and awareness. They're reminders that even at 65, 75, 85, your choices still matter. Your awareness still matters. And your ability to feel, to connect, to love, not just others, but yourself, that never disappears. But let's be honest. Accepting these changes? It's not always easy. In fact, for many men, it's one of the hardest parts of getting older. Because it's not just about physical health, it's about identity. It's about grieving what's changed. And learning how to embrace what's still possible. Let's talk about that, next. Let's pause for a moment. Not to rewind. But to really sit with what we've just unpacked. Because here's the truth. Aging can feel like a kind of loss. A slow fading. Not just of physical strength, but of identity. Of the man you used to be. You wake up some mornings, and your body doesn't move the way it once did. Your desires feel different. Maybe less urgent. Maybe more confusing. And for a lot of men, that creates a quiet kind of grief. One you don't talk about. One that just sits in the background, unspoken, unshared. But let me say something clearly, just in case no one else has, you are not less of a man because your body is changing. You are not less worthy because you're navigating a different rhythm. And talking about something as personal as masturbation at this stage of life, that's not weakness. That's courage. See, silence. Silence is what robs people of healing. Silence is what convinces you to settle for discomfort, for disconnection, for quiet suffering. But you don't have to live in the dark. Because here's the shift, knowing these things, about your prostate, your mood, your chemistry, it doesn't make you fragile. It makes you prepared. Your body is still working. Still sending signals. Still adapting. Still offering you the chance to feel good, to connect, to be present. It might not look like it did when you were 30. But that doesn't mean it's gone. It means it's changed. And now, it's time to change how you respond. Start with something small. Talk to your doctor. No shame. No filter. Just honesty. Ask the questions you've been carrying in your mind. Try journaling. After your next solo session, write down how you feel. Not just physically, but mentally. Does it relax you? Does it drain you? Does it help you reconnect with your own presence? And if you have a partner, talk. Not just about the act itself, but about your fears. Your hopes. What's changed? And what you still want to share. Because your body isn't silent. It's communicating. And it's waiting for you to listen, not with judgment, but with curiosity and care. You are not too old. You are not broken. You are evolving. And that evolution doesn't take anything away from your worth, it adds to it. It deepens your wisdom. It strengthens your compassion. It teaches you how to hold space for others, by first holding space for yourself. You've still got time. You've still got life. And with the right tools, the right support, the right understanding, you can age with dignity, with vitality, with love. Not just for others, but for the man in the mirror. Let's move forward, together. So let's bring it all together. Today, we uncovered 3 powerful truths, not from shame or taboo, but from science, experience, and real-life stories that matter. We talked about how regular ejaculation can protect your prostate health, not something to shy away from, but something to understand and manage with wisdom. We explored how your hormones shift as you age, how that can affect your mood, your energy, even your sense of connection, and how tuning into your emotional response after intimacy can unlock surprising insight. And we leaned into something less often discussed, that periodic abstinence, yes, even at 70 or 80, might actually reignite your desire, sharpen your focus, and help you reconnect to a deeper form of intimacy with yourself or your partner. Not to return to the past, but to move into a fuller, wiser present. Now let me ask you, what stood out to you today? Was there something that challenged your perspective? Or maybe something you've experienced yourself, but never had the words to describe? Drop it in the comments. Even if it feels small. Because your story might help another man, another family, another caregiver understand that they're not alone. And if this spoke to you, if you felt heard, respected, or simply curious to know more, subscribe to Senior Care HQ. This is a space for real talk about real issues. No gimmicks. No shame. Just grounded, compassionate insight into aging, health, and the quiet truths that too often go unspoken. Thank you, truly, for spending this time with me. Remember, curiosity doesn't age. And neither does your right to feel whole, respected, and alive in your own skin. Stay strong. Stay informed. And I'll see you in the next one.